add to. I don't know if you know Clem.
Yep, good. All right, we are live, and the New York Mets, they're doing the thing again, boys. They're
back.
Oh, God. Here we are, fellas. July 20th. We got a 110 game. I'm excited for baseball. I am ready to be heard again. I'm ready to be heard again, boys.
That's the most important. What did you just say? That phrase right there. I'm excited for baseball. That is the new meaningful games in September. The bar has been lowered to just excited for baseball, because what I've learned the last couple of years, and some, for whatever reason, the internet, doing the podcasts, whatever it may be, the baseball the last couple seasons were different from the first 30 seasons that I watched. More, everything's heightened and whatever. And when I don't have baseball, meaning when I can't enjoy it and I don't have anything to get excited about, life is just blah, blah. So I'm excited about baseball. If for one more game, at least for one more game, we know.
Now, what do we say to the God of Death, Kevin? Not today. What do we say to the God of Counsel? Not today. And you especially, people like you. I don't even know if Phil falls into this. Kyle maybe, but you are like I'd say you're one of the biggest disparities between your number one sport and your number two sport out of everyone I know. I love the Mets. The Mets are my number one team, but I love the NFL more than I love baseball. Phil is like a sick fuck. I don't know where he stands right now. I mean, he's fucking on the Mets bed, but he also is like involved in the goddamn Mets, Knicks, and the Giants. So I don't know what to make of Phil. Kyle's back.
All I know, Phil is like a diehard MLS fan too.
I've only attended like 3 MLS games in my life, which is more than you will ever say for yourself.
Only 3?
Yeah, that's
3 too many.
I would venture to guess that less than 1% of the population has gone to 3 MLS games. That's insane.
But all 3 games are ties, by the way. I never saw a loss or a win.
Unfucking believable. But this is what happens. Our sister team comes into town. The Sons of Uribe come in. And what do your friends do? They lift you up and pick you up, Kev. Don't you give the middle fingers to the Sons of Uribe. I know you and White Sox
White Sox. Fuck Reinsdorf and fuck all their fans, White Sox Dave included. Fuck them.
Damn. It's like that, huh? I forgot it's the whole Cohen thing, and we're basically
you pick your
just
side, man. None of this Sons of Uribe shit. You pick your side. Do you ride with Cohen or do you ride with, Hey, you place your bet, Clem. I know where I'm placing mine with Steve Cohen.
I'll tell you right now. The White Sox are doing more for the Mets than the Mets have done for the Mets the last 2 nights. Tell me that fat spot the fucking lie.
That is spot on.
Dude, thank God. When they say, like, I wish we could play blah, blah, blah every week, every day, it's like, if we could play the White Sox the rest of the season, sign me up.
And especially that first game where the Mets come out, they're hitting the shit out of the ball, hitting home runs, but Cookie's doing enough to keep them in the game. And I don't know if I texted it to you guys. Alvarez's home run to go, or like that inning, go from like 8-4 to 11-4. Those were survival runs in like the 6th fucking inning or 7th inning of a 8-4 game, which is crazy to say because you just knew it was not going to be an easy night. Now, luckily, the team across the dugout is the American League version of us. So it was like one of us was going to get our hearts ripped out. And thankfully, it was us holding on to the lead and them doing what the Mets have done so many times. They edge us, they get us right to the end, and then they just chop the dick off. And it's gone. And there's nothing but pain. And that's what happened to the White Sox fans the other night. So
the White Sox really are so similar in the sense, a couple years ago, that core seemed like it was amongst the best in baseball. I remember being like, oh, shit, these guys are going to be around for a while. Hopefully it'll be like, the Mets and the White Sox in the World Series. And then it's just important to remember that it could always be worse. And the White Sox are an example of could always be worse because it's a core that's, fell apart and is not getting it done, plus no money and no spending. And that is the worst of all scenarios. So, before you cry and say how bad it is and motherfuck the Mets, just think about the White Sox.
I'll give you a tragic White Sox stat. In the last, 108 whatever years it is, they've won a total of 3 playoff series, and all 3 came in 2005. So.
Well, but you know what?
I would sign up for that.
Yeah. No, legit. Seriously. If I could have had that run because not only was it a ring, but remember that starting pitching was like so incredible. Like it's a memorable one, despite the fact that it's this weird little blip on the radar where the White Sox snuck in and got a ring. I remember that. It gave them all the ammo they needed against like the Cubs, and like it kind of evened things out a little. I think I'd sign up for that rather than our bullshit. You go to the playoffs, you win. You go to the playoffs, you make a run every year, you win like a couple series, and then you disappear for almost a decade at a time. I'll take that.
It's not as tragic when you say it like that, but for them, they make it sound horrible.
I mean, think about the same way I think about 2009 for the Yankees, and we're even getting to a point where that's getting old enough that's not going to help them anymore. But for so long, 2009 kept the Yankees' mystique and allure alive, just because they had one to break up that drought. And if they didn't, it would be like by now the Yankees would be dead. We'll talk about them in a minute. But if the Mets had one in this modern era, it would change everything. So I think I would sign for that, man. That's what is really the really tragic stat. I think they just signed somebody, maybe Abreu, but at one point, their largest contract was like $61 million. That's
Benintendi. Benintendi's their highest paid player, 5 years, $75 million.
I mean, that's $75 million for your highest paid player ever. I mean, that's tragic.
That's truly Wilpons, and the fact
we
that
may give that to Ohtani alone next season.
Yeah. When you guys think of the White Sox that year, who's the first player you think of? Because I feel like, wow, Burley. Okay, that's a fair one. I feel like the guy I'm thinking of is pretty common, but the fact Burley is definitely on that list because he's kind of that team encapsulated, right?
He was the head of like the Hydra,
Yeah.
Was Freddie Garcia on there?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Who is their third baseman? That's the one that I most would associate with them, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Joe Creedy was their third baseman. Pierzynski was their catcher. Konerko was first. Tadahito Iguchi. I forgot about it. Of course, the shortstop. We all remember him. The fucking the man that brought us all together, Juan Uribe. My guy, the left fielder, was Scott Pasetnik. I always think Scott Pasetnik with the fucking with the 2005 Cubbies or White Sox. Aaron Rowand in center, Jermaine Dye, and then Carl Everett. So some solid Immaculate grid names, which we will do a grid at the end of the pod. For anyone that wants to stick around, we have the Mets on there today, so I didn't even fill it out.
Run through that starting rotation for me if you got it up.
And the rotation was legit. It was it was like a weird just hodgepodge, but it got the job done. Burley, Freddie Garcia, John Garland, Jose Contreras, El Duque. And then they had the closer here as Dustin Hermanson, but we all remember the big boy. My guy, Bobby Jenks, bringing me the big fuck. They had Ozzie just being a crazy dude in the dugout. And that's like, that team was made for like the White Sox. Like no one, like how many Hall of Famers do you even have out of everyone I just said there? Is there any? And they just have like a bunch of just salty dogs that just went out and did their job. So that's perfect.
I had this image of Freddie Garcia slow walking off the mound after like one of the complete games or whatever the fuck it was, just being like dominating dudes. Could you imagine in today's game having like all complete games in the playoffs the way they did? We're begging guys to get into the fifth inning, and they were just like nonstop 8 innings, 9 innings, complete games. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a fun team, and Burley was kind of the head of the Hydra. Phil, who was your guy? Or you were probably too young for that, right?
All I remember really is just Konerko from that White Sox era, just because he was around for so long.
Yeah,
Frank Thomas was on that team.
Yeah, him too, obviously.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize he was still around. I remember Pasetnik was a fantasy monster, right? Because he got the stolen bases and shit. I just remember him being in some leagues. He was like a great little like sleeper pick.
Kevin
Perez. There's some like low key guys that you know them by their names, but they're not like baseball
I remember
guys,
AJ Pierzynski just because he retired after walking us off a game in 2016 and he was with the Braves. Just randomly.
I feel like that is baseball. It's like anything can happen. But it feels like impossible that like a team of misfits will win a title anymore. Like it's gotten like baseball, I think was the last to kind of get like modernized as far as like analytics and all these things, where it just feels like there's so many good GMs and so many like monster operations behind all these franchises. I just don't know if there can be like a bunch of guys just like
Kevin, the 2021 Braves have something to say about that because the guys who actually won that ring.
But also when you look at what the Braves were like, it was like we just didn't know what the Braves really were yet. You know what I mean? Like they were. I don't know. Maybe you're right. It just feels like you're always gonna know the names. You're always gonna know the superstars of the teams who win these days. I wish it could be a little more like those White Sox teams, but it's also fuck the White Sox.
Fuck the White Sox for forever today. I guess Kevin's just gonna live on that hill, die on that hill. We have the 1:10 p.m. game here, and then last night was you don't get those very often. Not with this fucking team.
Yeah, breezy, 2 hours and 9 minutes. Like that was the cake. That was the topper of the cake. I'm like, it's 9:30 and the baseball's over, and we won.
The only thing I'll say is much like what Max did to me the other day. Yep. Verlander, it's like. Well, God damn it. If Verlander's going to give you 8 innings at a clip, maybe something can happen. So I'm at the point where I'm mad about good performances. Unless they're going to do it. If here's the thing. If Max and and Verlander will go 3 turns through the rotation, both of them pitching well, I will believe that, like, hey, maybe there were some injuries. Maybe there was just a change of lifestyle in New York. Maybe
it's because we burned the cursed jersey.
Or it could be that. Whatever the reason may be, I need three turns through, 6 good starts from them where I can be like, all right, now, and I bet you by then, if that happens, we'd have a couple winning streaks here and there, and we would actually be in decent shape. But until then, I'm not getting my hopes up.
This is what I'm going to do for every Max and Scherzer start, or Max and Scherzer, Scherzer and Verlander start. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to open a Coors Light. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put myself in the retired state of mind. Everything's going to be fine and everything's going to be good. Those are our Blue Mountain boys. I'm going to just have to believe that. I'm going to speak it into existence. I'm going to drink it into existence. And for that night, those guys are going to turn into like, I don't know, the 32-year-old version of themselves, which is like a decade ago, but that's all right. And everything's going to be fine. You have to believe it because Coors Light is the beer that gives you that retired feeling. And hey, like they always say, no summer plans or perfect for all your summer plans or lack thereof. No judgment here. I'm going to believe in Max Scherzer. I'm going to believe in Justin Verlander, and I'm going to believe in the 2023 Mets because I have to. And I don't have any other way to describe it, but those Blue Mountains are going to get me there. So this summer, chill like you're retired with Coors Light, just like those 2 guys in their 40s probably should be. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Boys, I don't know. Oh, Kev, I guess you could have
real quick, by the way, Clem, I just want to say I stand with the writers. We've got a strike going on here in Times Square.
You're driving in Times Square right now, you maniac.
Down. I stand with the writers. Pencils down. Let's go.
Yeah, I thought you were driving. I didn't know where you were. I figured you're like at the Jersey Shore or something. No, you're driving in the belly
on my way to the office. Look at this guy riding the taxi on the skateboard. We got a whole scene right now, folks. This is wild. Oh, but yeah, I stand with my writers. Pencils down.
Pencils down. Sorry. KFC. I mean, shit, KFC. You should be like, this is the old blogger KFC. That's the guy that got the Barstool right here. So
I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. If I was somebody who was making a living on the blog, I'd be like, sorry guys, I got to stand with my writers.
I honestly thought that Matt Fitzgerald was just going to stop blogging because I think he is like in some writers or Screen Actors Guild. And I'm like, well, we're just not going to get Matty Fitz blogs. And he was one of our biggest outputters. But yeah, maybe I'll just do podcasts from now on. And if Portnoy has a problem with that, he can hit me up directly. Did we miss out on, because Kev, you know this, the merch game has changed a lot at Barstool. It's kind of like, hey, we need to have heavy hitters now and home runs. We're not looking for singles, doubles, or shit that people just like. Did we miss out on a potential shirt here? Because as soon as the Mets win that game the other night and Francisco Alvarez says, "Por qué no?" That was like a fucking shirt. Yeah. And I'm like, if we go on a winning streak now, "Por qué no" is going to be the motto for it from here on.
You know what, though? But that what you just said is the point. Is the merch game was like blood, sweat, and beards and things like that happen naturally. And we probably like paid our entire payroll at Barstool with those moments. and then you wanted to make those moments and manufacture those things, and you really can't. The ones that catch on are the ones that catch on, and sometimes almost by trying to make a T-shirt, people get turned off by it, or they're like, they don't like it. You almost got to let Porque know. It's like, yeah, you want to be like first to market, but also let it breathe a little bit. Because if you do go on a run and Porque No becomes a thing, then it's a lot more fun to wear it. Whereas it feels like you're trying to monetize like every single thing the team does. But Porque No does have the potential. Let me tell you that much. Because a bunch of us just yelling Porque No would be great.
I mean, that upside down question marks makes a move for me.
Yeah,
I'm a big upside down question mark guy. You throw that on a shirt in orange and blue, I'm gonna be fired up. And it's kind of like the new age Spanish, like we gotta believe, right? Like
yes,
And
we have the Los Mets history too. Like it all plays together. So, and it's coming from the one guy who we all love this year. So, it could be something special.
It could be something special. And I mean, I'm gonna have to shout him out. He had his fucking rock bottom moment when I was in the ballpark when me, Phil, and Kyle were there. Brett Baty, maybe not dead yet. Couple
might
home runs.
Be something here.
Might be something here after all.
I know we're all probably joking, but like I think the first step of making it is like not. This is gonna sound obvious, but it's like the first step of making it is not washing out. Like you came up, you had your hype, you clearly hit a brick wall, and a lot of guys from there just fucking, that's it. And I think the very first step is to be like, no, I'm going to save my career, make sure I still have a job. And he achieved that. And then, I don't want to downplay it. Like he's had some major home runs recently. So like not only do that, but actually thrive a little bit. Not to say that I think we have, the hot corner locked up for the next 15 years or anything, but I'll give it to him. Like, I thought we were seeing the beginning of the end, and now I'm not so sure.
The SNY talking heads, like, literally 3 days ago, were saying that they need to send him down and bring Mauricio up, and that he needs to go get some humble pie down in AAA. And now he has 2 home runs back-to-back days. He's driving the ball more than he has been in the past. And immediately, everybody just forgets. Like, it's the goldfish mentality, and it's like, oh, I didn't say that.
And I really wonder, like, I bet you that pop fly was like a mental thing for him of like, it literally can't get any worse. He probably was pressing and all that shit. And then you just say like, I'm the butt of the joke. I'm the embarrassment right now. It can only go up. And then it starts to. So, and by the way, like, what we need is to bring up an even younger, less polished guy who doesn't have major league at bats, because that'll fix the problem of the guy who's less polished without a lot of at bats. Like, what?
I'd like to say that was like his Alec Boehm, I fucking hate this place moment, but Alec Boehm's also just not really a good player either, so I'd hope for better than that. So.
Yeah, but he had his little blip, a little bump up.
Yeah, he had his like 60-game hot streak, whatever it was.
I'll take that. If we could get the rest of the year, fine.
If he's one of the people powering it all, like, and again, this is like baseball fans are guilty of this more than I think any fans. You make the narratives in your head or the story of the DVD, and it is the pop-up drop followed by him getting hot. I'm at the point now with McNeil. Like McNeil, he definitely tweaked something the other night. Did you guys see that? Like in the first inning, he kind of tweaked something at the plate, and then he was kind of like grimacing about it later. I'm at the point, I own McNeil. I don't know what the fuck's happening with Marte. Guy has like devastating migraines that has him.
My wife dead for all we know. Yeah.
My wife gets migraines where she throws up, and I always thought she was just doing it so then she could like get me to like have to wait on her hand and foot. Turns out it might be a legitimate thing here. So egg on my face.
No, here's the truth. Headaches are a lie. Migraines are real. When your girl is like, oh, I've got a headache, and then she takes Advil and she's like, I'm better. It's like, you just fucking, you were just a little dehydrated. You had a bad day. Your head hurt.
You drank nothing but coffee all morning, nothing to eat, no water.
It's like, yes, everything you were doing makes all parts of your body hurt. And my head hasn't felt good since 1997. But migraines, it's like, you need to be laying in a dark room and you're puking all the time. So I think, but when it's all said and done, we're going to find out Marte's surgery was complicated. He had this injury and that injury and the headaches. Like, it is just not this dude's year.
Yeah, I think I was saying to Phil at the game, where like looking back now, I wish they had basically just started the season on the IL. And I know you never want to do that. And we would have all been, the sky is falling, especially when Verlander went out too. But with like an injury like he had, along with his injury history. All right, ready? Let's do a little Mike Francesa rating for you guys. 2021. 64 games played. All right, I'm sorry. He had 100. He had 110 games played. The year before that, in the pandemic, he had 60, 130, 140. But he had 77 before that. And like Marte's always a dude that just has like these weird little nicks.
Well, the 77, that may have been the PED suspension. So that's not an injury.
I can't blame that. But it just always like he has these like little nicks and whatever. You have a serious thing like was it double core? It was a double core.
Yes,
surgery?
double groin surgery.
Double groin surgery. Jeez.
Both of his groins got hurt.
And the guy is like absolutely shredded. He's an Adonis, right? So you figure he's going to be all right. But sometimes those are the guys who need to get that shit completely healed more than most. So
lingering pain and soreness is what he says. He still can't run full speed. And like, I don't know if you guys pulled the hamstring. I remember Clem blew out his calf. Javi
Baez killed me.
That shit lasts a long time. You need just downtime. And he's trying to be a professional athlete. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. So I love Marte. He's like absolutely murdered us this year. I don't know if McNeil is, again, if he gets the car, maybe it turns it around. But those two guys, like, again, an IL stint seems extreme, but I don't know. I'm at the point where I'm going to just trust Guillorme being out there, as crazy it sounds. I mean, I'm also at the point where DJ Stewart, my latest memory of him, is hitting a fucking home run. So I'm cool with him being in the lineup. Where when he came,
the DJ Stewart era is upon us, boys.
We do this every single time. He's like the poor man's Daniel Vogelbach, like big guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nick Plummer.
Yep.
It's crazy how dumb our fucking brains work as baseball fans, but it's basically.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like I always cited Shane Spencer with the Yankee fans, and like I've seen it when I was young, I've seen it when I was old. If you come up and you hit a home run, the fans are like, that's all it takes. Just hit one home run.
Just hit one home run.
Nick Plummer. It's like you have a mustache. Last name's Plummer, New York, my guy.
Used the Mario Kart theme, or Mario Brothers theme, remember? And then that was all like it took to make us love him. So I don't know. Another guy that has kind of been our like savior when it's all said and done is Shohei Ohtani. Did you see this thing? We have Dwight Gooden tweeting out eye emojis. Now listen, I love Doc. I don't think he's fucking connected in the least. He's saying he's hearing some things. He did say though, he would give him number 16, which, I mean, thanks, Doc. Like 1,000 people have worn it since he was booted off the team. Kev, did you hear that line? I don't think you were on the podcast that day.
No.
Keith says he doesn't want Ohtani to basically wear 17 because they just retired.
Oh, yeah. No, we talked about that. Listen, that's why we love Keith Hernandez, because he would say something ridiculous like that. Shohei Ohtani can wear whatever he wants. He can change the name on the front, the number on the back. I don't give a fuck, man. Give me a break.
Now, answer this question for me. The Mets have Ohtani. He's like, I will sign right here on the contract, but you have to fire Keith Hernandez from SNY.
Oh, I was about to say, dude, you can't put anything on the other side of that.
If I'm here, Keith is off. So basically, it's the rest of Keith's career. He's off the broadcast, but Shohei Ohtani is in your lineup every night and on the bump once every 5.
I cannot believe I'm even debating this, because it just shows how irrational we are about our goddamn broadcast team.
I said no.
You want to have the most baseball player ever or a funny broadcaster. But I think I got to go with Keith.
You said fucks. Me and Phil are the fucking logical ones here trying to win a goddamn World Series.
Keith sues us. Like, he's already been on the Angels with Mike Trout and they can't win a World Series. They're not guaranteeing me shit if we go get him.
Okay, wait. How many more years? How many more years does Keith have? That's my question.
That was
3,
the other thing.
maybe. I think it's 3. He's trying
to get fired at some point.
If he's about to bow out, which probably is, take Ohtani. And obviously I'll take Ohtani no matter what. But
Clem doesn't even see Keith because he doesn't have SNY right now.
I'm on the radio and fucking getting like PIX and ESPN games whenever they leak into me because I don't have my wife has like a bunch of YouTube stuff saved on her DVR, so I'm fucking still scrounging it. God damn it. Kev, your face turned to a face I've never seen before. Like your brain literally broke itself trying to figure out Keith or Ohtani.
It's like, do I want my team to win or do I want to have, at least with Keith, you know what you're going to get every year.
Right.
it's like the one thing we've always had is we can enjoy the
Keith
broadcast.
hits 400 as a broadcaster.
Yeah,
you can't duplicate that with anybody else.
It's
even
like,
if the game sucks, he's going to say something outlandish, borderline getting canceled, and you're like, this is great.
Guys, think how much you love DJ Stewart when he hits that home run. Now imagine it like every fucking night, and the guy leads the league in home runs and triples and fucking batting average against as a pitcher. I'm just telling. It's basically like choosing the wife that you're gonna be living with every day, but she's like, you can never speak to your mom again. It's like, I love Keith, I love my mama, but like at some point, one's gonna be here longer than the other two, more than likely. Like, I kind of have to make the decision. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Clem, luckily, I have Steve Cohen as my owner, and I'm gonna have both. So I got to run to a meeting. You guys wrap up the rest of the episode, but I'm going to have both one day.
All right. Well, shout out Kevin for getting on, giving us a little insight on the writer's strike, which was nice. I didn't realize they were striking in New York. I mean, I guess it makes perfect sense. I thought it was just LA. Did you guys see that that tweet the other day where the Universal Pictures apparently like shade, like they cut down the trees where they were sitting in the shade? Nope. I mean, that is some diabolical shit. That is some Wilpons level stuff right there. That's even more crazy.
It was cut in such a way that you can't even defend it. You're like, yeah, that was just petty. We just want them to get off of our lot.
That's some war shit right there. So Phil, talk me into, or how am I going to say this? Sell me on how I can get excited, like truly excited about this team by the trade deadline in 2 weeks.
I mean, I tweeted out the blueprint last night. Let me pull it up. I said, if Jose Quintana has a good start today, okay, that's a sweep.
Okay, he's back.
The Red Sox just lost 2 out of 3 in Oakland. They're maybe hitting a skid. Let's take 2 out of 3 versus them. The Yankees, they don't have Aaron Judge. They're smiling while losing. They're blowing kisses to fans after bad performances. Take 2 from them. Next, we have the Nationals. That's the last place team. Take 3 out of 4 versus them. You do all of that, you're one game over 500 going into the trade deadline. And then you have, I think we play Kansas City. We can get fat versus them. And then the Brave series, which is Barstool at the ballpark.
Okay. So
all of that, we can have a good momentum going into Barstool at the ballpark.
I saw the Braves have lost like 7 of 9 games or something and have like expanded a game onto their lead or something just absolutely preposterous. So that series is kind of like where the fun ends, but everything until then, I'm sold right now. I believe 4K now.
And baseball's a dumb game because this White Sox team that we've beaten the last 2 nights, they just destroyed the Braves this past weekend. So baseball's just a dumb game.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to say it too.
This is the first series all year we're going into it. I was like, they need to sweep that team because they're better than them, and they've actually done it though. Because think about every other time we're like, yeah, they're probably going to sweep, and then we take 1 if we're lucky. So they need to show that they are a different team in the second half.
Yeah, pretty simple. Win games, and that's all it takes. Just win.
I mean,
it's a dumb statement, but win.
It's crazy to think how much we complained about it, but it really was like last year. Be like, oh man, they always win the first game of the series, but they can never win the second game, and we never sweep. And it's like, yeah, but they always won the first game, so you were always like, all right, we got one in the bag, we're not getting swept, and they'd usually win the third game, and that's how one of the ways to make a 101-win season. Important ingredients to it all. All right, Phil.
We got 3 wins under our belt right now. 45 was the low marker for 87 wins. So we're chopping away at that. But anything less, as soon as we fall off from 45 on pace, that's when you got to actually start getting.
Also, we have 42 left. 42
in the
left
month of September, you play, I think it's 3 versus the D-backs, 7 versus the Phillies, and 6 versus the Marlins. So if you're even around 5 games going into September, you're still kind of in it.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm with Kyle on this one where I'm at the point where it's like, show me, but I have the path is there. Phil's showing us the fucking layout.
But the path is there if you just went out.
Yeah, right. We are all the little Simba in the Lion King meme, and Phil's Mufasa, and there's the fucking Pride Lands, and like the Elephant Graveyard is like the Brave series coming, but everything else is there for our taking right now. It's just a matter of like, again, if Max is Max, Verlander's Verlander, Quintana is something that he's probably not, but as long as he's a fucking warm body, I can believe in it. 4K now. Did you guys see the report? Buster Olney's become like a cartoon character in my mind because of Frank. But did you see they tweeted out that the Mariners may be interested in Canna in a trade? They said they had met with him when he was a free agent 2 years ago. And whenever you have like a name and a team linked up, I feel like there is a little bit of smoke potentially to it all, and maybe some fire going on behind the scenes. If we had to trade someone out of the outfield, would you rather have Canna get traded or Pham get traded? Because Pham always felt like the easier one because it's he's a rental 1 year guy and he's been fucking our best player. But Canna, more expensive. Obviously, already said, I'm fine playing the bench role. I think Pham would be as well. I don't know what am I supposed to think here, Phil?
So one, Tommy Pham, I think, is a better player, and they're both essentially rentals because I don't think anyone else is thinking about picking up Mark Canna's $11 million option.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot for someone that's pretty much a fourth outfielder. The other thing is we're talking about the Mariners buying. They're 5.5 games out of the wild card of their own league, so I don't understand that sense either. If we're talking about us and them, like we're basically in the same spot.
And they're selling fucking Blue Jays shirts in their store trying to make money at this point, which, by the way,
the only player that we would do that for is if Ohtani comes next month with the Angels and we're selling Ohtani merch on our team. So that's the only acceptable answer I'll ever say for that.
And it would just be something with his face on it. Like they wouldn't sell anything with Angels logos. I'm telling you, if the Wilpons had done that back in the Anger Wilpon post Madoff bad days, that might have been the day Citi Field actually burned to the ground. It would have been the 7th time it's burnt since it's been built, but it would have been the time where we were the ones, the barbarians at the gates, burning that motherfucker to the ground. When fucking the players are calling you out. I mean, Seawald, this guy talks more shit than anyone I know, which I kind of appreciate in that sense. That was one of the more and they started to pass it off as, we had extra all-star merch laying around. And it's apparently it's an old thing that a lot of the Canadians do come down, go to the Mariners games.
No, that is very true because Canada is not far from Seattle.
Yeah. Even though Toronto's far away, Canada's right there. And at this point,
the Blue Jays own all of Canada.
Yeah. Shout out to when they fucking murdered the Expos in cold blood. So now it's just a Toronto town. But that was a wild move. I still can't believe that happened. So Ohtani. So, I didn't even realize that I thought we were going out to Anaheim. So, Ohtani's coming here. I mean, at this point, we're best foot forward. No booing. We're going to have
to be like the Mariners fans in the All-Star game. Just said, come to New York or just start chanting his name when he comes up to the plate.
I need Mets fans to step up and, again, best behavior. Don't boo. Vogelback, if he's still on the team, cannot be in the lineup those 3 days. Because every time that guy gets out, it's Boo Bird City. I need all the fucking Mets fans to be on the best behavior for that. That's in August, you said?
Oh, yeah, late August.
I
believe my fantasy football draft is that weekend.
So. I'm absolutely petrified. That's our World Series if this little plan the roadmap you laid out for contention doesn't work out this way. So we got this game at 1:10 today. I was gonna push back this episode to tomorrow and say, hey, we'll know how the series went out. I feel like the vibes are basically as high as they're going to get, though. A sweep is I'll be feeling just as good now as I do after a sweep. There's nothing that could happen today that's going to make me feel better, basically. So
that's correct.
Right? I think
I'm just dreading it, and I'm glad that it's a 1:00 game.
Yeah, I'm happy it's going to be
Quintana.
over.
It's what's going to happen? We haven't seen him literally since spring training, and we weren't banking on him being the guy anyway, but now we're hanging our hopes on some guy with a broken rib. So,
and I will say, if he goes 4 today, I can live with. I can't get mad at a guy coming back.
I think he'll be on a pitch count too. So
if he goes 4 today, I'm not going to notice any difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Leon's going to come in. I'm going to go, okay, you fit right in. Come on over.
Oh man, Dominic Leone is just perennially the Captain America meme.
Daily Dominic
again. Daily Dominic coming back in. He pitched at the game we were at too, and we're like, there he is, baby.
I might be the only Mets fan that doesn't shit on the guy. I'm like, he just takes him out and takes it day after day after day. He's the whipping boy because he has to be. It's you just start to feel bad for him after a certain point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then after this series, let me look at the pitching matchups here coming up. Who are the Kopech today, right? For the
Yeah, and Kopech's last start, he fell down 4-0 before recording it out versus the Braves.
Jesus.
So,
well, that's the Braves, but still, yeah.
I think it was like walk, hit by pitch, walk, grand slam. And
then we go to Boston here, and we have Senga, Paxton, Scherzer, Crawford, Carrasco.
So the The Red Sox TBA, I think it's an opener with Nick Pivetta basically as the bulk guy out the bullpen, and he had like 6 no-hit innings, 13 strikeouts out of the bullpen versus the A's. So
Jesus,
versus the A's.
Yeah. Paxton. Always, whenever you see Paxton and he's not hurt, it's like that's one of those guys that either he's good or he's hurt for the most part.
He got shelled in his last start, so that's maybe something. I don't know.
Maybe something. I'll take that. They lost 2 or 3 against the A's, so you'll take that as well. But like all those teams in the AL East, it's like they're all fucking good, have good records.
The Yankees would be in first place in the AL Central. Did you see that?
Yeah, if you
at last.
If you go down the standings, it goes exactly from the AL East to the Central. Phil said it just goes in winning percentage order. It's fucking nuts. And again, that's where the White Sox are. So that's part of the reason why this has felt so goddamn good the last couple of days. I say this all the time, like Red Sox fans do not bother me in the least. They're basically a team I have to root for in August and September when the Mets are dead to, say fuck the Yankees. The Yankee series should be interesting too, because man, they're in it right now, man. They are going through some shit. It's crazy what that lineup looks like when people it's what the Yankees lineup could have been if they just didn't keep pitching the fucking Aaron Judge the last year or so. It was crazy. Yeah. I'll never understand that. Anything
he went out the same exact week or 2 days before Alonso did, right?
Yeah.
The funny part is I told Hobbs it's like, the day he proposed to his fiance, that was the day Aaron Judge got hurt. So one happy moment in his life. Aaron Judge is out of it.
Tough times for our boy Hobbs. Tough times. But hey, all that matters is he has a ring coming. He has a ring coming his way. May not be a Yankees ring, but he has a ring coming for his finger. If you would like to be like our boy Hubs and find yourself someone in holy matrimony, or at least someone to just have some date with, you got to check out Foreplay. Not Foreplay, the golf podcast. Check that out too. Subscribe, rate 5 stars, subscribe to the YouTube, whatever you do. I'm talking Foreplay, Fourplay. On Foreplay, single friends team up and make a shared profile and match with other pairs of single friends. Low stakes, less pressure, more fun, more social. You're going out to the bar, you have 4 of you, 4 of them, kind of meet up, mingle, see what works. Maybe a couple you hit, maybe a couple stick, see where it goes. You have an unlimited number of teams with all your single friends. Being able to make a team profile with your buddy and filling out prompts about your friendship is the most fun you'll have on a dating app. And to all the straight men, the app is over 80% women. So you got some fishing poles in the water, see if you can pull anything in. Foreplay is the only dating app with this ratio. 80% women. That's ungoddamn believable. That's like remember back in the day, the colleges, you'd always see like which colleges had like the most women and stuff like that. And you just feel like you have a chance. You have a fighter's chance. So even if it doesn't work out with either of them, it's never a night wasted. It's a night out with a friend. At least you'll have a story to tell. So join Foreplay with a friend using referral code METS, METS, to be entered to win 2 tickets to the Mets versus Angels on August 25th. There we go. You could shout out Senga. You could shout out Ohtani. Tell him how much you love him. Tell your buddy how much you love them. Tell the people you meet on the app how much you love them as well. Foreplay will pick the winners on August 12th and send them their tickets to 2 field seats at third base. Use the link in the bio to download. Search Foreplay, Fourplay on the app. I'm sure we'll have stuff about it on the socials. Okay, you boys want a grid?
I've never done it before.
You've never done it before? No. Oh, this is beautiful.
Well, the Mets are on the grid, so this should be perfect for you.
This is great. You know the rules of the grid?
I know that you should have to do the intersection. Now, if you use a player in any other grid, are you still able to use them moving forward?
Yes.
No, only one.
Well, once per today's grid, but you can use them tomorrow or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So we're Immaculate gridding right now for the people listening on the podcast. This is what it looks like here. On the left side, we have the San Francisco Giants, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Cincinnati Reds. On the top, Kansas City Royals, the New York Metropolitans, and 300 or better average career hitter. Those are the 9 things we have. Pabs, if you want to jump in at all, you're more than welcome. Phil, you sick bastard, you're basically our answer key. Kyle, lead us off here. Give me anything you want. Just choose, one of those 2, whether it's Mets or otherwise.
I'm going to go with the only cross that I know for most recent, Michael Conforto for the Mets and the Giants.
All right. That's nice.
For that one, I did Ramon Ramirez, who he got in the Angel Pagan trade.
Very nice.
So Conforto here is 15%. That means 15% of the people have used him. The sick fucks like Phil try to hit like the lowest number percentage and stuff like that. What the hell was Ramon Ramirez at, Phil? Was he
0.009?
Oh my goodness. I was gonna go with Sweet Wilmer or Jeff Kent. Now, Kyle, for guys who are a little older like us, the guys from like the 90s are low-key like kind of low number. Like I had Miguel Tejada.
Frank got a rarity score of like 8 on this because he had all old guys.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
So
the score is, if you have lower percentage, the score is higher.
Yeah,
exactly. So if you can get someone that's a little more rare,
arbitrary. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next up, we're gonna go Mets. I have my Mets Reds guy, so I'm just gonna throw him in now. This guy sticks in my head. There's certain players that are always in my brain with this fucking game. And Eric Bedard is that guy for some reason with the Mariners. I have no idea why. But for the Mets Reds, Devin Mesoraco.
Got
him for Matt Harvey.
That is a good one.
2%er. He's a 2%er.
He looks like Kane from the WWE.
He does look like Kane. Oh my god.
For that one, I did Willie Harris. Remember, he would just kill us with like those diving catches, and we signed him at one point.
Yep.
And he sucked.
You could have went Matt Harvey here and done the other side of the trade. I don't know I don't know how many. If you know Mesoraco, you obviously know Harvey was a part of it. All right, so let's see. Phil, give me a square here. Give me Kansas City Pirates since you're a fucking sick ass Pirates fan.
Always muted.
I mean, if you want like an easy one, it's Carlos Santana is like the popular answer for this. I honestly forgot who I put for that already.
I was thinking, is Melky both of them?
Milkman.
I always have.
I saw who I put. I put Joe Blanton.
Joe Blanton.
In 2015, he pitched for both those teams.
0.6%.
Because I remember we faced him in a series in late. It was that August series in 2015. We faced Joe Blanton.
So Blanton, Pittsburgh, KC. He also has the Phillies in his mix as well. He obviously has the A's hat on. So
he's pitched for so many teams.
Kyle, give me Mets Pirates here. There's a few I know. I could.
Ali Perez is the first one that comes to my mind. Didn't he pitch for the Pirates?
Yep, sure did. I was going to throw in the guy he was traded with, which was Roberto Hernandez, or you could throw the X-Man Xavier Nady, the last great righty-lefty masher we had.
Xavier Nady, the best stat I had for him was he was I'm sure it's no longer the case, but he got drafted and was the only player never to play in the minors. He just went straight to the pros.
Really? I never knew that.
Yep. He immediately just made the jump to Major League Baseball from wherever he was coming from.
Oh, shit. That's a good fucking fun fact for you. Pavs, what do we got, baby? Give me something here. You're muted.
Top left, Giants, Royals. We'll keep it with the Mets. Carlos Beltran.
Ooh, yes. For Mr. Zach Wheeler. That was one of those trades at the time. I was like, holy shit, we actually got him. And even though I didn't know he was a real person for a while, it ended up obviously paying.
You don't usually get players like that for rentals anymore.
For a rental, yeah. And he was a clear as day, and he sucked for the Giants. And then he just went back to being Carlos Beltran again. It was very weird.
Bottom left, Royals, Reds. This is like a very, I think it's a very low percent. Christian Colon. He has the game-winning hit versus us in Game 5 of the World Series, and in 2019, he had a base hit up the middle that basically just killed us in the wild card race.
I love that Phil just associates every player with what they've done to Mets.
Yes, because I remember Gary Cohen said, Christian Colon does it to the Mets again. Like,
oh, my God. I should hate this guy. I didn't even know he existed, and I should hate his guts. At that point, 2015, it was like, by the end of the Red Wedding, it's like everyone's just dying. It's like it didn't even hurt anymore. Ty
Wigginton's a good
that's
pick
a good
too.
one. Ty Wigginton, Pirates and Mets is a good one. Dominic Leone, could he have been Giants Mets?
Yes, he could have.
Yeah.
I'm saving DJ Stewart in my mind for Orioles Mets for the future as well. Okay. Yep. Now this is where it gets interesting here. 300 plus average career. Now, obviously, in the current baseball we're living in, average is like thrown out the window as unnecessary. So I feel like some of these are going to have to be older. I'm also very scared we trip up here on these guys. Okay, I'm just going to say, top of my head, I don't know. Bonds had like crazy fucking like 362 he batted in 1 year. I just don't know how he was earlier in his Giants career.
You want to go safer. You want to go safer with average hitters.
Yeah.
Willie McCovey, Willie Mays. There was like a, Willie Mays is a guarantee.
Just go Mays.
I'm sure it's a high percentage.
Yeah.
I feel like Bonds is probably like a 304 kind of guy. He's over 300.
Okay.
By the way, we can do Pirates.
You can do Pirates. Barry Bonds too.
I'd go safer. I go with like Clemente. And Honus Wagner.
Yeah.
So, Honus Wagner. Yeah, let's go Honus. Like at that point, you had it badly.
I just looked up Barry Bonds.
That's why I was saying don't use Barry Bonds, Kyle. I think one of my friends really tried it last night.
Okay. Reds now.
Oh,
Pete is Pete.
Yeah,
he has to, right? Because he had all the
Pete Rose. You're gonna laugh at what his percentage is on this.
1,000.
91.
Yeah, rarity score 202. Average score 6.7. Let's take a look at the. I love these. We
got numbers. A lot of the popular answer. The right row. It's.
I must say though, Pete Rose. Not as high as you'd think.
Well, 91%. So.
Oh, you mean average? His average is what's
303.
303, really?
Just scraping the bottom of that. And Barry Bonds was 298.
298. Holy shit! It probably like burns him inside that he didn't finish as a 300 hitter too, because he's a sick fuck like that. That's the other thing is he was getting walked so much that he couldn't probably add to his average, so it was basically impossible. Oh, I didn't realize Clemente was 77%. Starling Marte, that's a good Pirates Mets guy. Conforto was highest, 15. Jay Bruce, oh, fucking curse you. How about this? I was saying Cueto, and then for Pirates, Royals, and then I was even thinking for Royals, Reds, Edison Volquez, right? I think he was on both. So I feel like the good juju. We did the grid the last time. Won the first 2 games of this series. If we're going to have to grid the rest of the way, we're going to grid our way to a goddamn playoff spot if it fucking kills me. Let's see, 125 went between the Mets and the Giants. 148 players that played for the Mets and Pirates. 130 played for the Mets and the Reds. So let's see, highest WAR, George Foster. That was with the Reds, obviously. Oh, the Ass Man. The Ass Man's the second highest Met WAR when it comes to Mets Reds. So shout out to the Ass Man. I absolutely loved him. Today, Quintana Mania. I mean, at this point, I have such low expectations for the starting pitchers. I could live with like 4 innings, 2 earned at this point. Just give us a fucking chance. Don't basically make it a bullpen game in the 3rd inning. That's all I'm asking for. Is that fair to say, boys?
Yes.
Who do they have today? They have Kopech. That's right. He got shit.
Kopech. This is a game we're probably going to see David Peterson in. So just have to use your brain here. If Quintana's on some sort of pitch count, Peterson's the long reliever, probably.
So Buck's going to get motherfucked by everyone, basically, and their mother.
Yes, this will be a game where if they lose, we'll point to and see Buck can't manage a bullpen or whatever, and he's got to hope they score a bunch of runs.
Is Buck wheeling out? No, he's not wheeling out Vogelback today because I feel like
it's Alvarez DH day.
Yeah. I feel like when Buck has the bullpen game and Vogelback in the lineup, that's when you are just honestly begging the fan base to turn into Frank the Tank because your pitching stinks, and then this guy comes up once every 3 innings, and there's just bad vibes all over the place. So I mean, we'll see what happens today. Nimmo Pham, Lindor, Alonso, McNeil, Alvarez, Baty, Canna, Navarez. I mean, I'll fuck with that. That's for sure. If Baty stays hot, who gives a fuck? That's basically how we're going here.
Let's hope it's a home run 3 days in a row. That's, I mean,
not asking too much.
Not asking much. He's gonna ball 400 feet. No big deal.
But no matter what, in the words of my guy, por qué no? Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.